Yes, we are back. And this young lady, the first female football, makes this show a lot better. We certainly appreciate her all the way from the Palm Springs area, the one and only Julie Bueller. Julie, welcome back.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you this fine?
We're doing well. We're doing well. Let that fabulous go, Jules. Hey, we're a movement by ourselves. You know, we're laying down the law, but we're a force when we're together. We just wanted you to know when you come on, it is all the way live. Hey, listen to her.
It's priceless. Priceless. That's awesome.
You make
a song produced.
What's that?
That's got to be, 2002? 2003 maybe?
It says
2006.
2007. Rather than losing Super Bowl?
Yeah, but it's appropriate.
It is, yes, Bob. How are you guys? You good?
We're good. Well, we want to know about Seattle, Dallas from the first female football. I know you watched some game film on Seattle, and we think Dez Bryant has some advantages. We think the running game of the Cowboys shows up. We keep the ball out of Tony Romo's thought process, and we may do something today.
Yeah, may is the operative word. And the other key here is, fellas, you're exactly right. The key to beating the Seattle Seahawks, and it was all last year as well, is running the football, but not out to the perimeter, but straight up the gut. In fact, when Seattle was outrushed in attempts, not even in yardage, but just if a team actually had more attempts in running the football than they did in passing the football, the Seattle Seahawks had a negative 118-point differential, all right? When a team tried to pass against them more than they tried to run, the Seahawks had a plus 118-point differential. And if they tried to rush more than they tried to pass, they had a negative 3-point differential. Excuse me. But that's the pendulum in which a team can swing between a really good game if you plan on running the football a lot and a really, really, really bad game if you plan on passing the football a lot. And unfortunately, guys, I would love to think that with the Cowboys coming in at 4-1, looking really good, the only team it seems they can't beat in the NFL is my San Francisco 49ers. But they do look really good. The problem is Jason Garrett came out this past week and said, yeah, we love what DeMarco's doing, but we want to save him. We don't want to run the football through him quite as much. I think that's a massive, massive mistake. And unfortunately, I think that Jason Garrett is going to prove once again why he overthinks things. Football is a game that when you have something good, you just keep doing that good thing. And you keep it simple. It's the old KISS rule. And Jason Garrett overthinks things too much. And I think that when they go into Seattle, they're going to try to get too fancy, put the ball in Tony Romo's hands, maybe as kind of an homage to, no, we do love Tony Romo. No, he didn't fail in the playoff game up here. And ultimately, I think the Seahawks end up with the victory.
I'm texting my boy right now. I'm going to say, hey,
you are,
Jules said, run the football, son.
Hey,
run the football. What is it?
Aren't you concerned, too? Because we've seen this pattern before, fellas. We've read this book.
Here's the
deal. And it ends the exact same way.
I agree.
I agree. Then we're gonna if he stops running the ball, we're gonna turn into moment Romo.
Yeah.
Which moment when he's gonna mess up?
Yep.
So we don't want to see moment
Romo.
Okay. We want to see DeMarco Murray run the football,
or get Randall in there, or who's the third guy? It's Randall, it's DeMarco, and I'm missing. But yeah, you can give DeMarco a couple spells and give the ball off to do a little running back by committee for a minute. Now Jerry Jones came out with that initially, that he wanted to save DeMarco. And let me just tell you this: Jimmy Johnson is a football genius. Jerry Jones is a business genius, but he we could outcoach him, outbuild the team quicker than he can say boo. They had on SportsCenter, and the reason why I alluded to this because Jimmy Johnson is unbelievable. When they had the Herschel Walker trade, he knew he was going to cut every guy that the Minnesota Vikings gave him to get the picks. Picking up Emmitt Smith, Darren Woodson, Russell Maryland. So he's a football genius. Jerry needs to own a team and let the genius come from somewhere else. And I don't know if it always comes from Jason.
After all these years, after all this time, he's pretty much learned how to?
No.
Okay.
No, I do not.
Julie, I got a question for you. This is Jeff. Do you think they're going to match up Sherman with Dez Bryant today? Is pretty much every play.
Well, the Seahawks haven't traditionally stuck Richard Sherman on the best receiver every game. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And if they just stick Sherman on Dez Bryant every single play, then I think Dez is in big trouble. Not necessarily because his skill set isn't as refined as it should be, but because Dez is the type of player who, gosh, I love his passion, fellas, and I'm maybe one of the few media members that don't criticize him relentlessly for his sideline antics. I love his passion, but at the same time, that's a two-edged sword because Richard Sherman will know how to use Dez Bryant's passion against him, and I'm not sure that Dez is mature enough to understand that he's getting into, a chess match with Richard Sherman that he can't win. Physically, I think Dez Bryant could win the 50-50 balls probably 60% of the time, but Richard Sherman, he's so long, that is a difficult thing to do. But I think the mental game, Richard Sherman has an edge over Dez Bryant, and that's where I think you might see some costly penalties, potentially Dez not staying as focused as he should be. I'd love for him to prove me wrong. I would love Dez to really come out, be super focused, understand that he's got not only a tremendous physical battle, but also maybe one of the toughest mental battles in the NFL. That's where Richard Sherman shines, is the mental, is beating receivers mentally.
This is Spence, Julie.
Julie, Spencer loves him some Julie Bueller. He couldn't wait. When he saw that you were on the show sheet today, he lit up like a big old Christmas tree.
Julie, because one, you're stunningly gorgeous, but outside of that, even despite how gorgeous you are, I cannot roll with that one. Normally, you could have persuaded me with your looks, maybe if you were in studio, but not today. I can't.
She got a football mind.
Oh, really?
I don't think.
Dez Bryant is more mentally tough than Richard Sherman.
What I think is that he's better than what people give him credit. That's what I think. Why do you think that Sherman is more mentally prepared? Because he went to Stanford and Dez went to O State.
Well, I think he said mentally tough.
Mentally tougher. I think he's very mentally tough. When you can overcome all that Dez Bryant's overcome, and still handle the pressure of the Dallas Cowboy market. I think that's a lot. A lot of people would have folded and crumbled.
I would argue that Dez Bryant hasn't really handled the pressure of the Dallas market. He needed his owner to send him out with a bodyguard everywhere he went. Spence, come on. Now I will agree that Dez has progressed and has matured over the years, and I do agree that the deck was kind of stacked against him to begin with. I don't think it's Richard Sherman is some genius and Dez Bryant is some dolt, and that Sherman wins out. No, but Sherman knows how to use everything to his capabilities and everything to his advantage, I should say. And he knows Dez Bryant's hotspot. I guarantee you, Richard Sherman is the type of competitor that will do research into his receivers to know how to get into their heads. And that's the big difference. Can Dez take that onslaught? And if he does have a bad play and Sherman keeps chirping at him, can Dez just go back out the next play and win the battle?
I'm with you on that, Julie. But when was the last time? He's not a genius, but when was the last time that we've seen Dez hurt this team? Regarding having a hot head, and I don't think that Sherman is the only DB that plays that style of defense that likes to get in their receiver's head. I don't think that he's the only. person.
You're right. I think Dez has had a very solid year. He's on 2 of my fantasy teams. But to your point that Richard Sherman is the only DB that plays a lot of mind games, Richard Sherman is obviously not the only DB that plays a lot of mind games. However, he is one of the rare DBs in all of the NFL that can play really good mind games and then back it up with a solid physical presence. And, by the way, add to all that with the one-on-one battle, you've also got a great secondary in Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, and
Earl Thomas will be
Byron Maxwell, and the other guys that are back there. So
I agree.
It is the one-on-one battle, but also Sherman has a best combination of the physical presence, the mind games, and having some backup to back him up.
Okay, Julie, I'll take that. I'll take that one on the chin, Julie. But you know what? I'm going to go with Drew Pearson. And I'm going to say that Sherman's overrated, and if he hangs around with Des too much today, Des Bryant is going to prove it. Everybody in America, everybody that has a TV.
He's going to get exposed.
He will get. Thank you, Jeff Blake. Thank you for finishing that sentence.
Okay, I thought that's where you were going with it,
Hey, Jules, I will say this. You're doing well in the Laying Down the Log Fantasy League, although our boy Ed Cope. You're 3-2.
Well.
You're 3-2. I'm 1-4. You want to switch records?
Hey, I'll tell you what.
You're in first place.
Being a commissioner is highly overrated because I'm a commissioner in my radio station's league, and I'm 1-4 too, Foss. So I felt like an absolute failure. But now I'm thinking there's something on this being a commissioner thing. Number two, it was all auto draft. I couldn't be at the draft, so I ended up with. My quarterback is Ben Roethlisberger, and you could just punch me in the face every week because
I would never punch your face.
I would
never punch your face.
No, don't punch me.
I would never do that for a multiple of reasons, but I would never do that. No, ma'am.
But thank you for thinking that 3-2 is pretty good. It is not up to my standards.
It is in the West.
It is in the West.
In our league. So.
I hear
You, Ryan, Chico, and Jeff are all 3-2. Tied atop, lock jammed in the West. I'm at 1-4 in the toilet in the East. So, that's all I can say, young lady, is you ahead of me. So
I got it. I like it.
Well, listen, we figured that that this is a game that leans for you, Seattle. We're gonna take a quick break, but before we let you go, you have any shout outs that you want to give out to Kaepernick or any of your guys?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No shout outs today?
I want to give a shout out to Frank Gore because the 49ers are an infinitely better football team when they run the offense through Frank Gore and they have Kaepernick exploit the matchups on the outside every so often. But man, if the Niners think that Kaepernick's going to be the bell cow, they're wrong. They're just wrong. Not right now. Maybe in 2 years when he becomes an actual NFL quarterback rather than an NFL freak of nature athlete, I think he'll be fine. But right now, no, I want to see Frank Gore getting the football, not Colin Kaepernick.
That's why we get along, because you love these running backs.
Julie, is Harbaugh going to be the coach next season?
Yeah, he. The only way he leaves, the Niners aren't crazy, guys. They're not going to fire him because they were one of the worst teams in the NFL for 8 straight years before Harbaugh came along. They've been in the NFC Championship for 3 straight years. So it would be stupid business to fire the guy. I don't care what his personality is like. But he is out of contract as of 2015, so after next season, which means he holds the cards. And that does change things. Right now, the Niners hold his destiny in their hands, so they're not going to fire him. He's going to coach next season. I don't buy those reports for a single second. And I think that Niners get back to the Super Bowl and potentially Super Bowl 49 could belong to the San Francisco 49ers. I think the NFL has a way of enjoying poetic victories like that.
Well, then we'll be courting you out in Arizona.
Hey, I can't wait, fellas. That'll be a blast.
Yeah, so no problems. If they're in, I know Radio Row is going to be a lot more interesting if your team is in the Super Bowl. So I've got no issue with that. And Spence is on Twitter. Jeff is on Twitter. You're on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. We're still trying to get Ryan to get there. But we can certainly talk this afternoon by Twitter because you need to know what Spencer's Twitter. What is it, Spencer?
SC2Driven. TOODRIVN.
Hit him up, Jules.
Yes,
make
Jules.
him pay for what he said.
You got it. Hey, I'll say this, and then I'll let you guys go. But I would love to be wrong. I would love to see the Cowboys go in there and beat the Seahawks. There are a few things I enjoy more in the NFL than watching the Seattle Seahawks lose. And so please, Cowboy fans, give them all the mojo. Tell Jason Garrett to run that football 40 times. I don't care who the running back is. And let's get a victory out in Seattle. What do you guys say, huh?
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sending texts when we get off the air.
Thanks,
we
Julie.
Hey, we'll have you back soon. I love the conversation between you and Spence, and we certainly appreciate it. And we can hear. How can people hear you throughout the country?
Team1010.com. I'm on from 3 to 6 Monday through Friday. Bueller's day off. You can go to team1010.com and listen live. And it's a rocking good time, I'm not going to lie.
Absolutely. That's the West Coast time, 3 p.m. West Coast time. And have a great afternoon. I know you love watching football, and we'll catch you soon.
All right, boss. Thanks so much. Good to talk to you guys.
All right. Bye. We're gonna take a quick break, get the shout-outs, get out of here. There's NFL football coming up right here on Laying Down the Law.